What's up, Brite Nation? So we are back here at AMS. Well, not we, but me. I actually gave Brittany the morning off. She's been editing every single day, every single night, not day. She's up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and she finally just was like, Kevin, I need a day off. So I'm here at AMS. We are gonna do a full engine swap in the Supra today. We're gonna go 1,000 horsepower. We're putting the GTR engine in here. Not really. Because I don't even know if that would fit. We don't have the capabilities for that. But no, what we are doing, we do have it racked up, and we are gonna do a turbo upgrade. We're just gonna go all out here. So we're gonna fab up a manifold today and throw this bad boy in here. Look at that. Does it fit?
Loads of room.
Loads of room. We've just been messing with you guys. So right here, we have a pure 700 turbo. What this is, it's a stock frame turbo. What's really neat is that the manifold is built into the turbo housing, so it's a direct replacement bolt-on turbo. What they do is they machine it out, put a bigger wheel in it, it gets a lot more airflow and the ability to get a lot more power out of it. So we're gonna throw that in the Supra today. We're gonna get it on the dyno, we're gonna tune it. It's only gonna be on 93 octane today. Some of the runs you saw in the other video were the stock Supra, completely stock on, it was on race gas. We put 109 in it, it was tuned on 103. You saw how fast it was. It was an absolute beast. This turbo should actually make about the same power on 93 as it was doing stock on the race gas. At least that's what we're hoping. And then once we add a water meth kit, from there we'll be able to turn it up and get, I mean, well, we'll see what happens. I don't want to start throwing numbers out there without actually knowing for sure. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this up. We're gonna get the turbo off, get the new one on, kind of show you what to do, how easy it is to do it. If it's easy at all, we don't know. We haven't dug into this thing yet. So let's get started. Let's get it up in the air and see what we got. So before we start tearing apart the bottom end here, just to get to the turbo and the coolant and oil lines and all that, we'll show you what the underside of the Supra looks like. So some plastic skids, looks like an aluminum skid, and the whole underside of this thing is completely flat. Not gonna say race car status, but that's pretty awesome that they went to this level to make the underside of this so dang flat and smooth. You can see the rear diff has fins on it for cooling here. Hopefully I never smash those and break those off. I mean, check this out. So the exhaust is even ovaled in spots for clearance. So you've got an indentation here for the diff for any kind of movement. It's ovaled on both sides here as well. And I mean, it's tucked up there pretty nice. I'm pretty excited to see what they come up with for an exhaust on this thing, because the car already sounds really, really freaking awesome. And then once you get this stuff out of here, you can save a bunch of weight with this exhaust, pulling this out of here and doing something custom. And then here's the valves. So it has a sport mode, and it opens up the valve on this side, and it makes it quite a bit louder. It actually sounds really, really freaking good. And I think most companies are going to keep this. They're going to incorporate that so you can have still your quiet mode, your louder mode in sport. Okay, so while he keeps tearing into the Supra, we're gonna go over some of the stuff that he already took out. So we have the Airbox here. So it's got a heat shield on it. It's multi-piece. You can see it's got a temp sensor in there as well. It's got, looks like a big resonator on the back side here that is pretty easily removable. Not sure why they made that multi-piece unless you make a block-off plate for it, maybe get some cooler noises out of it. And then what's kind of neat is in the bottom here, you can actually see there's air channels in there to direct the airflow to all parts of the air filter inside there. And I'll pull this apart in a minute as well. So there's a lot going on with just this little Airbox. The intake tube, everything's pretty massive on the car. So this looks like it has its own little resonator inside here as well to keep noises down. And then I'm not really sure what that guy is for. Maybe we can find somebody around here that might know. That might just be another air chamber to keep noises down. Compliance in different countries and everything have weird things like that. So this might be a resonator. This looks like it's another sort of resonator, and then the box on here has a resonator, if that's all what that is. All right, let's tear into this Airbox real quick. So it's just a clip, 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 and clip. So 4 clips. It literally comes off. You can see the little hole here that goes into this air chamber over here. It's just a resonator to keep noises down. And then here's your filter. Ours is pretty clean. I think we have like 700-800 miles on this thing. We did do that track day yesterday, which was super fun. And then here's the Airbox, which is pretty interesting. I haven't seen an Airbox with chambers like this before. So air inlet comes here. It directs airflow through all parts of the air filter, so it's the air's not just coming in and swirling around and coming through, it's actually directing it. And then you have more foam here, which I'm assuming is again for sound dampening. You know, it's just one of those things that happens that they have to be compliant everywhere. So that's actually pretty intricate Airbox. Haven't seen anything like that. Now, we did show you the other day, and if you missed it, AMS is coming out with their own Airbox. It's not going to have all that. This is their prototype that they 3D printed, so this will be the intake tube. So here's where the intake tube would go. They 3D printed this, so this is going to fit in there. Maybe we can even mock it up there and kind of show you guys. Would be kind of neat. But this won't have all those extra air baffles, and it should sound a lot cooler with the bigger turbo and a little more free-flowing Airbox. This is the kind of stuff they do. They get to engineer all this stuff here. So both sides actually have a brake cooling duct that comes from the front right into here, putting right in the back side. So now we have what? We have one little panel off. We're just starting there to drain the coolant. Is that what we're doing?
Correct.
So there's one little coolant line here.
And ours actually got 3 radiators.
Oh, those aren't oil coolers in there, behind there. Okay.
One on each side and one in the center.
Okay, so you have your standard center mounted radiator, and then you can see the fins right there, and then this little side duct, there's a little radiator. No, I can see it. Yeah. So we're draining. So we're just draining this here, and that'll drain the whole system.
Yeah, it should drain most of what we need to replace the turbo.
Cool. All right. So you can see right here on the other side. So I thought those might have been oil coolers, but now I've just been corrected that those are actually radiators. Which it did keep cool at the track yesterday. So these rotors lasted 1 track day. Trying to show you the best I can in here, but this is grooved to hell. So if any of you guys are looking to track your Supra on the stock pads and rotors, not sure I can really recommend it. I mean, it's still fine. It's not like it's not going to stop, but we started getting a little pedal vibration. You can see how bad the grooves are. Look at that. I would not recommend beating the crap out of it like that. I'm wondering if just a better pad might do with some better brake fluid, because I was having to really get into the pedal to stop this thing after 2 or 3 laps, and I was doing probably 7-8 laps at a time. Or go out for 2 laps, come in for a cool down, but that's no fun. All right, I missed a little step here. Sorry, guys. So the downpipe's off. Looks like it's just a clamp here, a couple bolts here, your sensors, your oxygen sensors, and then a V-band clamp. So what we did here is we actually gutted out the downpipe. So this thing is empty. Normally there's a catalytic converter in there. You have the honeycomb in there. So right now they're in the process of actually making a downpipe for the stock setup and or the aftermarket setup. But for now we're just going to run the stock with it gutted. Now if you're new to turbos, and I know some of you guys with Jeeps are watching this, and you might have the 2-liter turbo. So this is generally how it is. So you have your turbocharger. This is the exhaust side. Exhaust comes out of here, through and out, and then this is going to be the downpipe. So this is going to bolt up to the back of this. Sometimes it's got 2 or 3 bolts. Sometimes it's a V-band. I think a lot of companies are moving to this V-band setup. It's just a lot cleaner fit without leaks. So your exhaust will flow through here and out the exhaust. Yeah, if you haven't seen it all exploded before and you've got a 2-liter Jeep, it's going to be something similar to this. All right, so we're making some pretty good progress here. So with the airbox and everything out of the way, there's actually a lot of room here. I think a GTX would fit there.
I think so.
I think a GTX would fit there. So the really strange thing, or I don't know if strange, just different, is that the exhaust manifold, like I showed you on the turbo over there, the exhaust manifold, or I'm sorry, turbo manifold, exhaust manifold is built into the turbo housing, but then the head itself, actually, the manifold is inside the head, right? Like it's a, so
6 to 2.
yeah, so this is an inline 6, and all of them run to just 2 ports right here, which is something I've never seen before. I know on the other B58 it's the same way, but if you're not familiar with this stuff, generally you'll have all 6 ports, and then you'll have a manifold with, you know, all 6 of them bolted up. But what they did is they did like a log style manifold inside the head, and all 6 of those run to 2. And I'm really curious to see how if that hinders any kind of airflow when trying to push more power out of a bigger turbo, or if that's just gonna have to be opened up, if those ports will have to be opened up. But once we get this off, I'll show you a little bit more if we can get in and show the head at all. All right, I'm actually being schooled here by the guys that actually know what they're talking about, not just me. So you're saying the Civic Type R is a 4-to-1.
Yep.
Because that's turbocharged as well. So that's a 4-cylinder all on one side, and that's a 4-to-1. And then the Q60 that you guys have a lot of products for, right?
Yes.
Infiniti Q60, that's a V6, and each side goes from a 3-to-1.
Yes.
So are those twin turbo or the
Yes.
the turbo? So the
Q60, common port.
It's called a common port? Okay. So, I mean, that's good. I'm learning, too. I do a lot of turbocharged stuff, but with older school, you know, SR20s, 2JZ. And how's the power? Is the power levels?
And we haven't seen any issues yet.
No issues with flow?
We're like 700 or 800 horsepower, I think, on our Q60, so.
Holy, you guys are getting 700 to 800 horsepower with those Q60? Mm-hmm. I guess engineering for these companies knows what they're doing. But this is what it looks like with the cover off. Now this engine's direct injected. A lot of companies, if not all companies, especially with turbochargers, are going direct injection. And it's something stupid like 3,000 plus PSI for fuel pressure. There's a high pressure fuel pump. And is there a low pressure fuel pump as well?
Yeah, that feeds the high pressure pump.
So low pressure feeds the high pressure, and the high pressure boosts it to like 3,500 PSI or more in some cases. So that's pretty neat. You can see here, here's the rail. Here's a rail here with the fuel lines. And then you have your coil packs here. Okay, so I was just corrected again. Of course, I'm wrong every time. So it's 350 bar for the fuel pressure, which is like 5,000? Is that what we got? Like 5,000 PSI. So, you don't want that coming loose. I think right now our limitation is gonna be the fuel system. So we're gonna swap out the turbo, right? And then they're also working on the turbo upgrade kit with probably a GTX turbo, but getting to a certain, you know, we're gonna run out of fuel at a certain point, and so that's gonna be the next big challenge. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was pulling that turbo?
It was actually really easy. I would say like a 2. Pretty simple.
2, huh? So a 2 for somebody that knows what they're doing. Maybe like a 4 for somebody that's not too. Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like it all came off pretty freaking easy. So, OEM turbo, upgraded turbo. You can see they're both pretty much the same there.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it, you can see the size of the wheel here. So it looks like they machined this here, and you can see that they just went with a bigger wheel. That's always mesmerizing. Look at that. So there you go. You can see the size of the difference there, and then let's see on the exhaust side. So you can see how much bigger the wheel is there than over there. I'm surprised they didn't open these up a little bit, but I guess you can't. That doesn't really matter unless you open it up in the head some. And and then here all the lines will just get moved over. Alright, so now let's see how this new one fits. It should fit the same, right?
Yeah, slide right in.
So cool thing, this company called I&D Distribution, they do a bunch of cool little extras. So we're gonna be throwing this start-stop button, because in the Supra it's just a silver button. It's just one of those cool little touches that you can add to your interior. And then also one of the big things they do is they actually replace this orange marker with a painted marker light. So whatever color your vehicle is, you can order one to match it exactly. So we get rid of this because that is just an eyesore, especially when you have a sexy looking car. You don't want that. I mean, look at that. It's freaking terrible. Here's their BMW down here. It's a really cool blue. It's kind of a bluish purple. And I'll show you what their marker looks like on this one. So they actually send you a full replacement. You can see it's right there. So that way it matches perfectly. So whatever color your car is, it'll match and get rid of that hideous orange marker light. All right, so we got the turbo one. We got the lines all attached. You can see you really didn't pull anything off down here. We just popped this one cover off for the coolant drain. And we got that back on. And there really is, I mean, a decent amount of room to work on everything. So we're gonna snake the downpipe back up there. What do you think? You think it's gonna sound different with this bigger turbo? Or not really? You think it'll be a little bit louder? Or do we need to cut this guy out and put a pipe in right here?
Maybe in the higher RPM, but I think just idling, I think it'll be pretty similar.
So with the new Pure Turbo, they actually have a 3D printed, I mean, it's like the inlet, right, for the intake. What happened is, here's the factory one, and then here's the new one. So since they machine it out for the bigger wheel, this no longer fits and snaps into place. So you can see the difference here on how much bigger that is and what they had to do. So this is just 3D printed. We're gonna, this doesn't see any pressure. This is for the intake. So the intake tube goes on here, and it just bolts up, and we're just using some silicone to seal it. Pretty interesting. I didn't know they were doing stuff like that. Okay, so that's it. Doesn't even look like we did anything. We'll throw the cover back on it. We gotta, of course, fill up the coolant. I mean, other than that, you'd never even know. This is a complete sleeper at this point. It still has a stock exhaust. With the downpipe, the bigger turbo, I mean, we're definitely gonna be making some pretty good power. Once we add meth, it'll be even crazier. And you could really go whoop up on just about anything on the street, unless it's one of these guys. Of course, the Alpha GTRs you're not gonna touch. But that's it. We're done. We're gonna go throw it on the dyno, see what kind of power she makes.
When it rains, it pours. Water's up to my chin. Won't stop fighting to the very end.
Time for a little magic. Time to make a little magic happen. Oh man, that looks like Alien.
Yeah. I understand.
So there's like 10,000 parameters in this thing.
Absolutely. There's probably a little more than that, actually.
That was the first pull. Let's see what happened. Holy shit. That was our very first pull. 495, 545. gonna feel pretty insane because the torque hit is at 3,000 or just before, all the way up to 6,500. That's a huge power band, and the horsepower is like a 45 up, and then it just flattens out all the way across. That's gonna feel, for 93, that's gonna feel amazing on the street.
Just pump gas.
Yeah, just pump gas. So that may be faster than the other one on race gas, the stock turbo on race gas, just because it doesn't fall off at all. The stock turbo would hit and then fall off real hard, even though it made a lot of power and torque. It hit and fell off. This will pull all the way out to redline. I'm like super pumped. We need this rain to stop. I don't want to go drive it. Pretty consistent each time.
All right, you guys. So that's about it for now, unfortunately. So there's
Well, not
definitely.
unfortunately, it's making great power.
Well, fortunately.
Yeah.
But there's still more power to be made, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
definitely still a ton more boost to be had. But they just got to crack the parameters, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's so many parameters that anyone needs to use that that's it. They just have to figure it all out.
Tuning has gotten a little more complicated nowadays, but we're gonna let them have at it, figure it out, and in the meantime, we have actually more goodies to show you guys. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, we love you. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, you can find all of your Lite Brite Nation merch at lightbritestudios.com. All of your Lite Brite Nation decals at pixeldecals.com.
Don't forget about E3 Off-Road.
Don't forget about E3 Off-Road as well. If you haven't joined, go check it out. We love you, and we will see you next time. Bye! Mwah! Mwah! It's gonna be so rad.
Now I know we keep saying we chose AMS because of their background and the kind of work they do, but we just kind of want to keep reiterating this. So they're fabbing up a new twin turbo kit for the GTR, and just look at this. I mean, it's freaking beautiful. Look at this. I wish I could afford a GTR and have a kit like this. This is just freaking amazing.